He's Albert Breer, back on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Albert?
I'm great. You, Rich?
We turned the crowd noise down for you for this conversation.
What city, though? In Atlanta, in Minnesota, in Indianapolis?
Doesn't matter. Just for this conversation, wherever you are, wherever I am, I turned it down so we could hear each other. Before we get to that, the Jameis Winston Pro Day, he's thrown 102 passes. That is what George Whitfield, his quarterback's coach, who's waving the broom in his face at this Pro Day, says was Jameis's choice. 102 passes. It's more than anyone else. What do you make of 32 teams, Titans, Bucks, showing up to see this Pro Day, Albert?
Well, I mean, certainly the Bucks and Titans, top two teams picking, have resources into looking into the kid. They're going to visit him. They've already had him to their facilities. They'll put him through private workouts, and now they're there at the Pro Day. Each team has its quarterback's coach, his offensive coordinator, its head coach, its college scouting director, and its general manager there. To me, there's not a lot to lose or gain. There's so much on Jameis Winston on tape. From a football standpoint, that's translatable directly to the NFL. He can't hurt himself or help himself too much in this setting. I think the main thing is just showing he's competitive, showing that he's going to go out there and given a chance to compete, he's going to go out there and compete. And obviously by going through that type of workout with, a guy with the broom in his face, as silly as it sounds, does show that he's competitive.
So the question is, though, is the off-the-field stuff, the potential red flags, blah, 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 where do teams stand on that as we're about to hit April?
Depends on who you talk to. I mean, I talked to one team who wouldn't touch him. I've talked to another team who thinks that everything is overblown, So it depends on every individual team's research. What's so interesting about the quarterbacks, Rich, we're projecting one guy off the field and we're projecting the other guy on the field. Off the field, Marcus Mariota is a prince. On the field, he's got some of the same things that a lot of the spread quarterbacks have to work through going into the NFL, so we're projecting him on the field. With Winston, on the field, it's all there, and he's trying to project the person. What's he going to be? Who's he going to be as a man for years? And that, to me, that's what's so fascinating about these two guys at the top of the draft.
Albert Breer, NFL Media Group, joining me here now. So what is the latest on Mariota? There's so many rumors about the teams that are interested in him that the Titans will take him right away, or Washington would actually add him to the mix of the trio of quarterbacks that Jay Gruden went through last year and is going to still have back next year. The Jets, you hear the Bears, you hear that the Browns would be interested, that Chip would still love to use any trading chip to get up there. Tell me about this guy, Albert. What do you have for me?
I'll tell you that I think that, assuming the Bucks take Winston, that 5 of the next 7 teams will at least put up a front that they're going to be in play for him. And that's going to be fascinating because the only 2 teams you'd erase there are the Jaguars and the Raiders, who took quarterbacks last year. But I think what we have right now is a little bit of a shell game where even if you're not interested in him, even if you're not going to take him, it makes sense to feign interest and to say, okay, we are interested. Let's bring him in. Let's put him through all of this, and you should do that anyway because you want to know what you're passing on. If you are going to be passing on a quarterback of this magnitude, in worst case scenario, if you do all of that, you may inflate the value of your pick a little bit. But what this shell game does do is increase the chances that he could wind up going second or third overall, and one of those teams up there might have a trade partner. At this point, I think the Titans would be 50-50. I do think, and I said this to you a couple of weeks ago, that the Redskins would be more likely to draft him than the Jets. And then I think the Bears and Browns at 7 and 8 would be in play as well.
That's Albert Breer joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. The Falcons find $350K, lose a 5th-round pick next year for pumping in crowd noise. The Browns find $250,000 and lose their general manager for the first 4 games of a regular season because he was texting the coaching staff in one way or another. So some people think that this is a light punishment, Albert. What do you think of the punishments handed down to the Falcons and the Browns?
I think it creates. I think the main deterrent here isn't so much the penalties as it is the public embarrassment of having to go through this. I mean, text messages and crowd noise. I mean, it's not exactly the most honorable things to get busted for. So, I think the way, and to me, this is the way that football operations people view this. What the Falcons did was probably a little bit more egregious, because it was intentionally trying to gain a competitive advantage. But the Pandora's box that could be opening with the texting thing is far more serious. Look, all the evidence that's out there, what I have is that the Browns What happened with the Browns with the text messages was a matter of Ray Farmer and Mike Patton being in first years in their positions and not understanding the gravity of the situation. But if you don't create a proper deterrent there, I mean, there are ways you could gain competitive advantages by stationing guys around a stadium, texting down to the sideline to the coaching staff. And so I think that's the Pandora's box they wanted to shut. And to me, the deterrent isn't so much these suspensions or the fines to billion-dollar corporations. It's the public embarrassment that those franchises have to go through.
Well, as for the Browns, though, to continue on, I guess, with the analogy, you say Pandora's box, putting the genie back in the bottle. The reports are that Ray Farmer was texting the quarterback's coach to undermine the now departed offensive coordinator and also the head coach, for that matter, Mike Patton, about is this something that the Browns are going to still have to deal with moving forward with Ray Farmer in a draft room with a coach and an owner and a quarterback that's still, in rehab? What is the long-lasting effects of this on the Browns organization?
It's something that's, it speaks to obviously how toxic things have been there the last few years. Problems that have involved a number of different people. I would say that, as far as Ray Farmer goes, and this is just talking to some people who know him, that, there was a lot for him to learn. He was kind of thrust into that position maybe a year or two early. He's talented, but the Browns didn't pick their general manager that quickly, and it happened, and he was put in that position. And this was largely a result of his own inexperience, and knowing what the role of a general manager, should be on a game day. And I know a lot of the coaches, took a big-time offense to that. Coaches who are there still, coaches who are gone. And I know Farmer's made an effort to try and mend fences, but that's something that needs to be dealt with over time. Trust can't be rebuilt, by saying a bunch of I'm sorry. You need to go improve yourself again. And so, I think it's incumbent now on Farmer to prove to his coaching staff that he's grown from the incident.
Aaron Hernandez trial on day 37, Deflategate, I've lost track. When do you think, which one do you think we're going to get an answer in first?
I would say, I'll say Deflategate, because I think Deflategate is going to be done before the draft, and I don't think the Hernandez trial will be over then. But, to me, the difference between Deflategate and the Falcons and Browns situation, those teams, admitted culpability. And so that made it easy to go and investigate. And obviously, the league has passed its investigation on to Ted Wells. I think we're going to get an answer at some point before the draft. If I had to guess right now, they're going to have circumstantial evidence against the Patriots. And I think one thing that could be really key here is how the Colts came upon the information that prompted them to give the league the heads up during the week. Why did Ryan Grigson give the league that heads up? That could be where the trail to the information that Ted Wells is looking for. That could be the trail that he has to take to get the information he's looking for. I can't imagine there's direct evidence, especially when the owner, Robert Kraft, just got out there and said, there's no smoking gun. But my guess is there's going to be some circumstantial evidence, and that's going to make Ted Wells' job tougher.
And why didn't the league do anything on the Dez Bryant catch other than to talk about it has to be a runner, which is also open to interpretation, just as a football move and stuff like that, Albert?
I just don't. The part I don't understand about it, Rich, is just look. I've had coaches use this analogy to me. When you're 12 years old in the backyard, you know it's a catch and you know it isn't, right? Do you ever remember being 11 or 12 years old and not thinking to yourself and being confused over what is or what isn't a catch? So it's almost like we should park a 12-year-old up in the press box and have him judge it. He won't be the common sense monitor. I guess it's hard to put into words. It's hard to define on a piece of paper what is and what isn't a catch in certain circumstances. And I think the problem with the league had here is, they clarified something that really didn't help us get to the answer we were looking to get to with the Dez Bryant catch. Because clearly, if you look at the new wording, it's still, by that wording, it still wasn't a catch by Dez Bryant.
Albert, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. We'll chat soon.
Thanks.
You bet. There's Albert Breer joining me here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.